Hi, I am Bhumika. I'm a co-founder and career coach at Meraki Counseling. Today we have with us CAs. We have Ribhu Sharma and Sahil Shukla. So let's talk about what career options can we look at after pursuing CA. Over to you guys. And even before we begin with the question and answer journey, please tell us how many attempts did it take for you to clear the CA exams?
So both of us took the same number of attempts, three
Okay.
attempts. Like we are not one of those who cleared the CA in one go. Both of us took three attempts, and yeah, to clear the final attempt, the final CA exam. Yeah.
Okay, so what kept you going on till the third attempt?
Uh, Basically, for
I
me,
think
yeah.
yes. So ultimately, it is the result which tells you if you want to go further or not. So we were just short of few numbers that we couldn't clear our first attempt, and then attempted for the second one, and then for me, I attempted one group by one at one time. So I was able to clear the first group in the first attempt, and then the second group I was able to clear in the third attempt.
Okay.
So total it was three, but ultimately, like I gave first, so I gave one group one attempt and the second group two attempts.
All right.
Yeah.
So the question goes around what are your current job roles and how does your day look like? What all did you do after you guys cleared CA? You can go ahead,
You would
Ribu,
like to
So
as it is
Okay.
feasible.
So both of us are assistant audit manager with EY Sydney Assurance Practice. And in a normal day, how would I do my job is more or less looking at the business processes, designing our audit procedures and looking for the process and the controls, and then the risk which might be imbibed within the process.
Okay.
And the big part of our job is a project management, since we are doing multiple audits and most of the audits are recurring audits. So you need to be on the top of the project management skills and also take along all the stakeholders alongside with the project life cycle.
Right, right. And what does
That
your
involves
yeah, go ahead.
that involves discussion with your having a regular communication with your client, your engagement partners, your team, and bringing all the stakeholders to the table and going forward that.
Right. And is it the exactly same job roles that both of you are pursuing right now?
yeah, so both of us are in assurance practice with EY. So the roles and responsibilities are the same. It
Okay.
all depends like how you are taking on those responsibilities differently as an individual. So
Right.
as you said, project management plays a key role in uh, executing your responsibilities and roles, because that's the main thing that everybody is looking here. Like everybody can uh, perform or can execute the same kind of result in audit, but
How
how
you
you
do it
bring in the
is
efficiency,
right.
yeah, how you bring in the efficiency in executing that particular responsibility, that's also which matters a lot
Right,
for this
right,
particular job.
right. So, what all did you do after? Like, this is what your current job roles are. This is what your current day at the job looks like. But how did you start your journey immediately after you guys finished with CA?
So while for me, I never thought of doing CA. Like the thought never came to my mind, but my friends back in school, we when we cleared our high school, so we decided, like there were a bunch of friends and we decided, okay, what next? We'll start with the CA. And that's how I also joined CA. We also started going to the same coaching and everything. And there Then Deloitte happened to come there to get the articleships
Right.
flowing there. So we ended up joining Deloitte as an article there.
Mm.
And from there, I always had some different plans. Like after articleship, once I clear my CA, I complete my articleship, I'll do something different. I'll go to Bombay and join Bollywood because I was doing theaters at that time
Okay.
as well. So that was basically just CA was a fallback option for me at that time.
Mm.
But eventually, once I cleared CA, and then somehow I thought of, okay, this is what it is. Like I somehow didn't end up going to Bombay, didn't pursue theaters anymore.
Okay.
And the routine kept me going, and how you get into that, how you so much get used to having that kind of routine, like where you're working and you are independent, you're not dependent anymore on your family. And so that circle that kept me going. So that's what how it looked for me.
Okay.
At that time, I had not met Ribu. he joined in later on, but yeah, we met at Deloitte.
Okay.
I
But
met him when
yeah. Go
I
ahead.
met him when he cleared his CA. So
Mm.
like the same place, I think it should have been the same month that he cleared his CA, August 2014. Then I met him. And July 2014, I joined Deloitte. So it was just a month after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like that Ribu has a very good influence on you, and has pulled you out of Bollywood and has asked you almost to stay in this field. Is that the case?
I think for me, why I didn't go to Bollywood, because I didn't clear my CA in first attempt, to be honest. And then I wanted to leave Deloitte, but then my senior manager and partner, they kept me like, what will you do? Like, just be here. And then I started working. Yeah, that was the strong bonding that I had with my senior manager and partner at that.
Nice.
Yeah, and then Ribu
And then Ribu happened. Right. So
now he has found his love with the audit. So yeah. That's the another story.
So no more going back to acting, theater, Bollywood, any of that.
I think I have become more practical now. Yeah.
Nice. So I'm sure that thought must be happening somewhere around third year end, or maybe end of CA. I mean, when you're pretty young, when you aren't really thinking about
like that was. I happened to have that thought when I was doing my graduation. But I was in the first year, so that's when I basically had this. When I went for a few of the theater performances back in Bombay as well. So that's when I thought that, okay, CA, you should have some fallback option if you do not succeed in theaters. So that's why I started doing CA. But then, kind of, you
that's
can say,
a pretty
practicality
heavy fallback option.
Yeah. So, but yeah, anybody who is starting CA as a journey would have different thoughts. Like at that point, you might be confused, like whether I really want to do CA, what will I do when I clear my CA, like what are the other options. So at that point in time, you start with so many options, and then you zero down upon one option of doing CA, and then from there, how the life hits you, how you go through there, from there, it's all, like eventually you start growing up from there, I guess.
So 80% of the population is following the destiny, and there are a few who knows what exactly they want to achieve in life. And the remaining are just following the destiny, how it is falling apart on you. So, and my journey to the CA was my parents' expectation that if I take a commerce, then the only option I have is to do the CA.
Oh my God. And do you think that that's
so
the
this was
case?
an initial agreement,
Otherwise,
and then it ended up me doing the CA. Always wanted to work in business consulting when I was doing the CA, and I was in uni. But then I came into audit, and everything changed. So it is a mix of responsibility, authority, ethics, high integral values, and some amount of business consulting as well for your clients. So I think I landed up at the best place I wanted to be.
Right. So should we consider that CA was your A option, or was it also like a fallback option, or did you just do it?
Never an well thought of option.
Yeah.
But yeah, I followed it, and it led me to my goal where I wanted to.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, ultimately, it doesn't matter which way you take till the time you reach here.
Right, right. So, having said that, the next question revolves around what are the skill sets that you need, and what is the kind of inclination do you really need to have in order to thrive in this industry? Because you know very well, first, clearing the CA exam is, you know, a task in itself, and then thriving in this industry is another, I wouldn't say task per se, but I'm sure you do need certain sort of discipline or skill set. So, what is your take on that, Raghu?
Yeah, so since CA is the horizon of passing out after the CA is it's so large, so I can't talk about all of that. But I can talk to you about what keeps me going in terms of the skill set is actually understanding of the business processes and identifying the risk with mitigating controls around the business processes that we have identified. At, ultimately, I feel like you should have a passion for numbers,
Yeah.
and uh, and you should also have a high ethical and integral values within yourself, because the work as an auditor we are doing, it involves a lot of stakeholders larger than what we can imagine. So apart from that, being a trusted advisor to your client and acting as a guardian to the industry uh, at large, I think those are the elements which keeps me going.
Okay. Nice. And what about you? What do you think, you know, the skill sets that have really helped you grow in this particular field and industry?
For me, I would say how the adaptability, how do you adapt to
Mm.
different situations, to different people, to different expectations within the industry. If you are dealing with, let's say, X person, the X person, how he understands what you are trying to portray, what you are trying to convey, how he understands and how you deliver your message so that he can understand that message clearly, and how confident are you in delivering that message.
Yeah.
So that is very important as well. Like you have to have that adaptability
Mm.
to suit everybody's expectation. That's
Right.
one.
So it's not
And
just
in order to,
the back end and the numbers and the techniques that you people learn, but
yeah,
also
like
the communication skill as well.
there are people who would just deliver and execute what the tasks that are given to them, but that doesn't really help you thrive. Like that will help you survive within the organization, but in order to thrive you have to have that extra cutting edge.
Yeah.
Like what makes you different than the others, what do you bring to the table that the other person is not bringing down. So
Right.
that's really important, like how you deliver, how smart you are
Right.
in understanding the other person's expectation and delivering to that.
Fine. Agreed. Right. Okay, so could you also tell us about, you know, what are the different job opportunities and career paths after one has pursued CA? Like all we know that okay, you just go ahead with Big Four, but what are the opportunities do you think that one has?
So in terms of opportunities, I would say when I cleared my CA and I was doing my CA, there was this, I think there still is this herd mentality where you just think of two options when once you clear your CA, that it's either tax or audit.
Mm.
There are like large portion of public who are doing CA, they think that these are the two options that you have after you clear your CA. But
Yeah.
what they do not know is once you get into the industry, there are heaps of opportunities
Mm.
for, like, you can end up getting into forensic, which is basically dealing with fraud, which is an upcoming field
Yeah.
within the industry. Then you can do due diligence, financial remodeling. There are other financial advisory services, other advisory services like business strategy and restructuring, change management, and then like heaps of opportunities there. And then also, it's not like you have to join Big Four after you clear your CA. There are other options as well. Like while doing your CA, you meet new people. You have that kind of. You, sometimes you end up meeting people that are doing well in other fields, and then you realize like this is what I want to do. For example, my friend, he was doing CA, and then he had a passion for stockbroking and stocks, everything. So he ended up being a stockbroker after he cleared CA, and he was doing articleship with me in Big Four. So, and he's doing pretty well. And then you can do your own business as well. Like you end up being an entrepreneur in that sense. You can start a new startup. Like it gives you a business acumen, business sense. That's all what is important once you enter the CA. Like you should be open to new opportunities. You should be have those blinders on where you think, okay, you'll only end up doing audit or tax. There are other opportunities as well. Like you should be open to those. You should understand what kind of skill set you fit in and what are the other opportunities you have in that sense. Yeah.
So technically, I've also seen like a lot of CAs, they also end up going towards CFA, also take up MBA as a degree. So that is also something which is a very common thing. And when do you think, like people do end up actually taking those degrees? Is it just because to change the field, or is it because of upgradation?
So now it's a tricky situation because now CA in itself is a huge thing. So after doing CA, some people would say you won't need any other degree, any additional degree. Like you are there, you have the CA degree and you can do it. But then CFA in itself is altogether complementary to CA, but it's altogether a different forte. So
Yeah,
it's more of finance.
Finance and not just
it's more of finance. So
anymore.
Yeah, so my take on that is if somebody is doing CFA or MBA after CA, that means they want to change the field. They want to go ahead, do something else. Like, okay, they had done CA, but this is not where they want to stop. Like, they want to do some other stuff, and it's just a degree for them, where it's just a stepping stone that they're using to reach a bigger destination, a bigger
more
goal.
opportunities out of
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you also
See, if you
done
look at the curriculum,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so I did CFA level 1, but never attempted CFA level 2 and 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you look at the curriculum of the CA, it is not designed to make you a super specialist of anything. It is designed to make you to lay down a foundation, a strong foundation in the commercial world where any CA can thrive. So it depends on you which field you want to take. If, for example, somebody wants to go ahead and take and become a tax expert, there's no course for it. So after clearing the CA, you need to do the practical exercises, and then also the training, which leads you to become the best tax consultant. So there are the fields which might require you to do something additional. For example, I talked about the CFA. So CFA is highly into quantitative analysis of the financial market. And CA, I think the curriculum of the CA is equivalent to CFA level 1. But if you go to the CFA level 2 and 3, it is more niche. So it depends on where you want to go and what you want to do. Okay. This course lays down a strong foundation where nobody can fail.
Yeah. So
once you are a chartered accountant, there's a lesser risk of you being failing as a professional.
CA looks like, sounds like कि जैसे we say ना PCM ले लो सारे career options खुले रहते हैं. CA looks like that of commerce. Like CA कर लिया तो सारे career options खुले रहेंगे.
Yeah, and with the growing industry acceptance of many things, in terms of the industry accepting as you as a chartered accountant is not only for the audit, accounting, or tax. There are other options which are strongly looked upon you. So I think with the with the growing options, it actually broadens the horizon.
It does indeed. Right. And was
Yes.
Australia in your plan, or was it just like again go with the flow and it happened for you?
More or less, I would say go with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it wasn't the plan though. For me, the plan was just to go outside India, like just to go abroad,
Okay.
get an exposure there, see how the life looks like outside India, and that was already in my mind. Like I wanted to move out of India, but coming to Australia, there wasn't any specific destination. मतलब ऐसा नहीं था कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया जाना है, कईयों का होता है ऑस्ट्रेलिया जाना है, कनाडा जाना है, like we have to go to US, do MBA there, settle there. No such expectations, no
And the
such
only
plans.
thing we had in our mind is just to get out and get a global exposure of working with people from multiple culture, because it was too much of a comfort zone while working in Delhi, that everyone, everyone's the same culture and belongingness. So you just want to get out and see the world.
That's a pretty good plan. So, you had to do anything in particular in order to, shift here, or was it just again as I
Nothing.
asked?
Nothing. It is equally, yeah. So our course and our membership is equally recognized here as well.
So
Okay.
here, even in Australia, like you do not require a CA to be an auditor. Like at the top level, you just need a CA degree to sign financials. Like once
Oh,
you have that,
I thought that ACCA also had a very strong role in that. Like, if you want to move out of India, that
so ACCA is more recognized in London
okay.
and Europe,
Okay.
part of it. Like over here in Australia, our CA is equivalent to their CA. You just have to write 2 more exams to have their chartered accountancy degree, which would be tax, and other one is law. Basically, because these two are maybe one more, like either is tax or law and one more. And it's basically just to understand how those things, because law is different across the world. Like every country has a different law, financial law around their uh, financial framework. So yeah, otherwise, even it's just luck and how you take on to it, like how you keep searching, looking for jobs if you want to move out of India, how you go to LinkedIn and see, okay, whether there is a role available, whether there is an opportunity.
That's what I wanted to ask. Like, did you have to sort of convince or ask your senior managers about it? Or was it just like they're pretty impressed with your work and they asked, like, hey, just go take a plunge?
There was an age when the Indian auditors were not too acceptable to the world, because we were following something historical, which were accounting standards. So our knowledge about the accounting standard was restricted to India. But once India has now converged to international accounting standard and adopted Ind AS, our acceptability to the entire world has changed now. Because ACCA, what you earlier spoke about, had an acceptance level. Why? Because it is based on IFRS. And everyone in the world is looking for the IFRS specialist, and they used to look upon in Indians as not an expert of IFRS. But now we are equally expert of IFRS, because we are doing the same thing with a different name, which is Ind AS. So that has increased our acceptability across the globe.
Could you break it down for people? Because I'm sure there will be certain people who will be very new to these jargons. So could you just quickly break these two terms for people?
Yeah, so international accounting standards are IFRS.
Yes. International auditing standards.
No.
International financial reporting standards.
Yeah, international financial reporting standards.
Sorry for asking for
IFRS.
full form. Yeah.
Yeah, even I don't like it. Was not on top of my head.
It's basically
no
the same.
problem.
How you keep on speaking in slang, like it's an everyday discussion. So you just say FRS, ASB.
It's okay.
So IFRS, and now what India has done is India has converged their accounting standard in line with IFRS. So it is 97 to 98% similar.
So right. So
now earlier India
globally recognized now.
Yeah. We are basically adapting what they are using. So India had their own accounting standards own set of framework, how they used to function. And now later on, eventually we are using what is acceptable and in the across the world, like it's the same financial reporting framework. So wherever you go, you have that kind of understanding of the standards that are used to deliver or to prepare that financial reporting and the how that financial industry functions across the world.
Got
So
it.
90%, 80 to 90%, it would be the same now.
Got it. So all in all, if I were to understand from a layman's perspective, this has particularly opened our doors to the global industries and the global companies, and not just we are not anymore restricted to just Indian companies, so to say, or technically your
Ye-
movement has
ye-
become easier.
Yes. And also like that's where the CA plays an important role as well, because as a CA, you like, even I think we Indians, we are learners by nature. So give us anything, like just tell us like this is what you need to understand and learn, and this will open the doors for open new opportunities for you, and we will be able to adapt to it. So that's what we Indians, as an Indian, we are very good at.
Right. Plus we are jugadus, so we just know how to go about it.
But yeah, correct.
Right. Okay. So please tell me about, like if you were Ribu, if you were to give an advice or tips to 12th class student who is about to take CPT and is about to begin with the journey in this field, like their exams coming up and everything, this 4-year journey. So what will be your advice and tips to them?
So, to any CA student who is just beginning his career and is in a very initial stage, I would say that you don't have to decide what you need to do in your life now, and just keep an open mind and pursue this course with an open mind. And I think you will find something within itself, because it's quite an broad course that imbibes a lot of functionalities of the commercial world, that you, till the time you have acumen, business acumen around you, you will find there's something that interests you.
Yeah.
Recently, Sahil found out something in the audit which interests him and keeps him going.
Okay.
And yeah, so that is after 6 years of professional life. So it is never too late. And if you are really not interested in the entire curriculum of the CA, just don't do it because you have entered it. And yeah, so maybe just keep an open mind and look for other opportunities.
Right. Right.
So I really feel for the people who just keep on going and are not able to clear the CA exam for 5 to 6 or 7 attempts. And I don't want people to make this CA curriculum as an UPSC curriculum, because those are two different things.
Yeah, yeah, agreed, agreed. Yeah, actually, that was our a very important and last question. I'll surely come to that. And could you tell us, Al, about what's your advice and tips to students who are either entering in articleship or have completed their finals and are entering in the industry? So, from a professional's viewpoint, from a senior manager's viewpoint, or a manager's viewpoint, what is your advice and tips to them?
When a person is entering into the industry, they have certain set of expectations, like this is what they're going to get, or this is what they might be expecting from the industry. So more likely than not, the expectations are shadowed or like being developed from other person's understanding or other person's experience, because they hear about certain things and that's how they develop their expectations based on those particular conversation they would have had with their friends or families or other family members or like relatives or maybe anybody. Yeah. So once they enter into the industry, they need to understand like they are certain. You have done the theoretical part. For now, I'm speaking on behalf of like I'm having this conversation with the CA final students who are about to enter the industry. So they have this expectation. they have done the theoretical part of it, but now they need to understand what's the practical aspect of it. So the practical aspect of it might be different from the theoretical part of it. So they have to have this adaptability, plus they have to understand what will be the expectations of the industry, the business, the company that is hiring them, because obviously any company that would be hiring any new employee, they would have certain set of expectations. This is what we would like him or her to bring to the table.
Right, right.
So that's really something that they need to understand.
I think
What
it's
would be
CA, the curriculum is designed in a manner that, you have articleship beforehand, and within those 3 years, 2 years, that this is how, the industry looks like, or this is what the expectations of a company is.
Yeah, and plus, if you are entering into that particular role, do not worry about, like, sometimes there you won't be getting what you expect to get, like what you want out of a particular job. But in the end, it's all about getting more knowledge and experience. So take what you're getting in terms of, like, you have to be a bit flexible, not too much in terms of monetary aspect of it. If you're not getting, if you say, okay, no, I deserve this much, good enough. But sometimes, for example, now the COVID situation is there, you might not be getting the same amount of money that people would have got earlier. But now you also have to understand in terms of experience and knowledge that you would be getting entering into that particular field, entering into that particular role. And once let's say the industry gets back on track, or always be open to opportunities. There are dearth of opportunities in the market. Once you enter, once you gain that knowledge, you understand, okay, I can do this as well. Don't put your blinders on and enter that particular role and say, okay, this is what my destiny, this is what I want to do.
Yeah,
Just be
finally,
open.
it looks like that you've really found your love in auditing. Like, could you please share about that? So now that you're talking about the field so passionately, so could you tell us what is it that you genuinely discovered a while back?
So I would say love is too strong a word that Ribhu used, that I found in audit. But yeah, there is a particular area within audit, that particular industry within audit, that I started to feel that I really like this particular industry, which is private equity, which interests me a lot. Like, it is different to normal audits. You have to have this understanding of the business, how the economy is working, how the other indirect and other things that have direct and indirect effects on the particular business, how those are impacting that particular business, instead of just looking at the standards and the financial reporting aspect of it and say, okay, this is what the deliverables would look like and this is what we need to apply. It is kind of understanding the business knowledge, understanding the industry, and applying your experience and understanding of other businesses. Like how private equity works is they invest in a lot of other businesses. One would be investing in, let's say, a chain of gyms. One would be investing in household cleaning facilities. The companies differ, but how they value those companies, they have to have understanding how the different parts of the business, how the different industries work. So that's kind of what interests me. That's one part that I really started to understand, that I like this. It's
Finally,
not
pretty interesting.
yeah, finally. Yeah, like even within audit, you can find an industry of your life, an industry of your choice in that sense. Yeah.
So do
So
you?
similar to Sahil, yes, Sahil recently found out that he loves to, again, the stronger word, but yeah, now
Subtler
he
word, likes.
enjoys,
Yeah.
yeah, he enjoys auditing the private equity and the valuation of the underlying entities. I have always enjoyed assessing the business processes and improving those and being a business consultant to the client. So those are the things which really keeps me moving. And so yeah, so there are different aspects, but these are small aspects of the audit than the like larger piece. But yeah, if you can still find something, it is worth going for. Yeah.
Definitely. I'm sure that like keeps you going and would not want you to like just leave it all together.
Yeah, and also,
but it depends. It's similar to all the industry. Even the lawyers can't go in front of the judge and argue for the case daily.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are the things in a profession which
You
will
have to
keep
do
you
that. You
going,
do.
and
Yeah.
there will be other things that you need to do.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. So this is one very important topic that you touched upon, Ribu, just a while back, that there are a lot of students who get very much consumed by the process. Like even you people have gone through that, tried, 3 attempts, and after that you finally cleared it. But yet there are a lot of students that I do meet on a daily basis, and they come with, the whole losing of their self-worth, have gone through a depressive phase. Yes, phase, yet they are trying for the fourth and fifth attempt. So what do you think is, a solution to this, or what is your advice to certain set of people who are not being able to clear CA for whatever reasons?
See, I have always been surrounded by such people who are not who are strong-headed and are intelligent as well as, but not able to clear the CA exams because the curriculum of the CA has been designed in a certain way that fits in within the industry, fits in what the industry needs out of a CA, but doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter that you need to fit in the course as well.
Yeah.
So if you are fitting in or just not able to pass the exam by a margin, then I think there are two elements to the preparation of the CA exams, which are, one is consistency, second is strategy. So by changing those two things, you can marginally increase or change your numbers. But if you are getting a numbers which are far below the passing marks, I think it is a high time that people shouldn't
Consider.
waste their time, because it is not a job opportunity. After clearing the exam, then you need to go into the industry and find your job. If you think you are fit for the industry and this is just the milestone that you need to achieve, pretty much keep on going, because I've seen people who have have given like 10 attempts, got out into the industry and now are outshining everyone.
Yeah.
So because their acumen was business acumen and it was
Yeah.
just examination that they were not able to fit in. But
Correct.
if you think you are not able to fit in the industry, you are not able to pass the CA, yeah, it might be a course which is not being designed for you. So maybe just look for the other opportunities. World is full of opportunities.
Right, right. No, agreed. I also totally am in sync with this, that if you made for it, like that you like those subjects, taxing, please do let me know if I am going wrong. So auditing, taxing, finance, mathematics, law, other kind of subjects which keeps varying in intensities on all the different levels. So if you like that, and you understanding this is what I would love to do, then it makes sense that you try and reformat your strategies and your consistency and everything. But if this is something that you're not fitting in, you're not liking, then it makes sense to reconsider your career options altogether.
Yeah, and the best aspect is that this course gives you a practical training for 3 long years, which is good enough to realize that whether this corporate lifestyle or any lifestyle for that matter fits you or not.
Agreed.
Because while doing the audit, you are required to go to the multiple clients and do their audits. If you are a tax consultant, then interact with your client. So you are pretty much in the market as well, and you understand what is expected out of you once you clear a chartered accountancy.
Yeah.
So that training is not just a practical training. It is actually, I think, yeah, it is a more of sense of a practical training, which gives you more 360-degree view of how
Agreed.
your life's going to look at.
Agreed. Agreed. Now that we're talking about the corporate industry, how many years of experience do you people have already, like after you cleared CA?
Yeah. Including articleship, like I started my articleship in the first year of college back in 2011 or 10, I guess. Yeah. So it would be around 10 years of experience
It's pretty long. Yeah.
in this industry. Yeah. Like in post qualification, it would be 6 years of experience.
Okay. And
Yeah,
what
but
about
if
you, Ribu? Yeah. But same goes for
Yes,
both of you.
now mine is slightly higher.
Okay.
because I started off my articleship in 2007. So it is 13 years of experience and 8 years of post qualification experience.
Right. So we know from the, like, it took almost 1 month for us to get to this interview, which shows us that either Australia lifestyle is keeping you busy, or we've generally heard that, the work-life balance is pretty lopsided. What is your take on that? How are you guys pulling it off? And yeah, that's pretty much it. How are you guys pulling it off, and what is
You-
it that keeps you
So,
going on?
so definitely Ribu is pulling it off better than I am, but for it's so in that sense, I would say it's very subjective. It differs from person to person. Like
Hmm.
the definition of work-life balance is not like 50% work, 50% life. Some people think okay, 60% of work and 40% of life would be okay for them,
Yeah.
fits in with within their lifestyle, and some would say okay, 80% of work and 20% of life, I'm happy with it. So it is very subjective,
Yeah.
varies from person to person, but it's up to you how you want to have that balance in your life. Like how much, what does success mean to you? What are your priorities in life? What does, how you define success as? So in the initial stages, for example, when you do not have your, when you initially enter into the industry and when you are trying to grow into the industry and you do not have other responsibilities, let's say you're not married, you do not have children, so you would have that time to give more time to the work and still able to manage your life, right? But once you grow, you have responsibilities, you get married, then you have less time to give to work. Like you have to relatively reduce your work time and give more time to your family as well.
Yeah.
So
But is
those are
that
the
kind
two
of
aspects. And then
flexibility
later,
available in the field? Is that the kind of flexibility which is there? Because is the number of working hours
so
relatively higher? Um, if
so
I've heard
it
it.
again it again, like back in India, the sometimes you were supposed to work until late at 10 or sometimes even until midnight, but that's the kind of expectation from the work. Like you have to deliver,
Hmm.
like there are certain deadlines that you have to reach. Even if you're doing business, I would say y- for your business you are working, let's say 12 hours or 14 hours a day, and then still you feel okay, you're not doing enough. Like there is more scope for work, right? Because just because you're doing it for your business. So at the same time, it's like audit is like, this is your profession that you are putting your time and money into,
Hmm.
right? Money in terms of like, again, time. So it is very important to understand what your end goal is. Like how do you want to measure your success? Like you want to grow early, you are 22 entering into industry, and you want, by the age of 28 you want to be a senior manager or manager. So that means you are totally focused and totally work centric in
Yeah.
that sense. Like you know, like this is what I want, and after that. But at the same time, you have to understand like it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Like you, once you do this, you cannot, the you will develop, you will get into that kind of lifestyle. Like you can't step away from it.
Hmm.
So that's very important, how you, I would say, train yourself, how you set the expectations upright,
Hmm.
and how you deal with it. Like it's very important where you should know where, what the boundary is, and if where you need to step down and say okay, this is what my, where I am exhausted, like this is what I cannot do beyond this point, and this is my limit. So you have to understand your limit very well before
Hmm.
you can, or
Get
ultimately what will happen,
exhausted
you
or
can
just
say
drain
like
out.
okay, work is
Hmm.
keeping me busy, yeah, I am getting exhausted, but ultimately it's you who have set that limit.
Yeah.
If the work or the kind of industry you're in, or the kind of role you are in,
Hmm.
you're not able to maintain that, then you have to step back, think about it. Like, because a lot of people in India, they do not think like mental health is important or their physical health is important. They just think that work is the utmost, is of utmost importance,
Hmm.
and we have to keep on working and working. Like this is what will take us forward, and we will be thriving in life. But that's not how it should be.
Yeah.
mental health and physical health are of equal importance. And this is what has changed our outlook when we came to Australia. I would
Yeah.
like Ribu to continue on this one because he came to Australia, he came to Sydney before me, and then he was basically guiding me. This is how it works, and this
Oh,
is
yeah.
what you need to be
He
sure
looks
about.
he looks pretty impressed by your answer, it seems. It looks like, yeah,
Yeah,
like, well done, boy,
a
you've
couple of
learned.
things he said.
Mm.
Yeah, I totally reckon with him because a couple of things he has said are the things that any professional should think early on his or her career.
Mm.
Because since he just told you that well-being or work-life balance is actually a subjective matter. It
Yeah.
might be different for different
But what I'm
individuals.
trying to ask
But
you, like, is your job allowing you to, take that kind of time off? Because, like, I've heard about investment bankers and even the job roles that you're in, it really
yes,
consumes
it
your
is
time.
subjective. It is subjective.
Okay,
So
okay.
if you talk about the investment bankers, they are making a hell lot of money, and
Hmm.
that's the reason they don't really want to work, have a personal life, and are mostly invested because there is actual money at stake,
Yeah,
and that's the career they have chosen.
right,
So it is personal thing that you need to decide on.
right.
Even a investment banker can have a better work life balance, but obviously they need to
Okay.
go let go some amount of money they are earning.
Yeah.
So it is the choices you need to make. But the good point that Sahil told is, I think I'm just paraphrasing what he said or just trying to rephrase, is you cannot, since it is a marathon, he just told you, it's like
That's a
not a sprint,
really
it's a
nice.
marathon.
Yeah.
You actually graduate in the age of 22 or 24, and your retirement age, although there is no retirement age for a chartered accountant, but
Mm.
let's take if
Unless you
if the
retire.
the retire age is like 60, you have 38 years of work that you need to do, and you cannot once you go into the force and try and imbibe one kind of a work the lifestyle for yourself, it won't change because your habits don't die easy. It's like bad habits die hard. It's a phrase, but yeah, that is how it happens with everyone.
Mm. Yeah, I agree.
So once you start off working 10 hours a day and you think you're going to get partner within a, let's take an example of Big Four. If you start as an assistant manager, you think I will work 10 years like this and become a partner, and then my life will be sorted.
Mm.
Life is going to get tougher with every promotion and
Bigger
every hour
responsibility.
you are spending in this organization. So those are the decisions that you need to take if you want to, like, now we have taken up a decision like we have to play a football on Wednesday night. So whatever the work is, it has to stop by 5:30 or 6. Then we need to go to play football, come back, and then we can start off early on Thursday. But those are the decisions that you have to take early on
So
and with
you're
a
sort of
strong
telling
mind.
that it's in your hand, like, not completely what company is structuring around. It's somewhat in your hand as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's in your hand. Plus, I don't want like it is kind of more difficult back in India as
Yeah,
compared
that's
to here
exactly what I
because
was coming to as well. That,
yeah,
is it difference between
Little
Indian
culture
culture
as well,
and
little culture. Yeah.
yeah, like it is how the practice has been set back in India and practice how it has been set over here. Here, that's also a kind of difference in culture or difference in upbringing,
yeah.
difference in the say the business practice that we have in India.
Mm.
And here, people put their personal life ahead of their work. Like if somebody has to go, let's say somebody got a meeting, for example,
Mm.
late at 10 at night until 10 at night, and they have this stock count. For example, we have this stock count
Mm.
where you have to be physically present at a particular company site and observe whether the stock count, whether they are counting it properly or not. So now sometimes you have to do that 10, you have to start that count at 10 at night and you'll be ending up doing that count by 4 a.m. in the morning. So
Yeah.
now, again, our thinking is, okay, we'll do our normal work routine. Start our normal 8:30 work in the morning, and then we'll end up at 6:30, whatever time you will be ending. And after that, you'll be going and attending the stock count, right?
Yeah.
As compared to people over here, they would say, okay, we'll start at this one, and they'll clearly tell, like, I have this stock count scheduled at 10 in the night, and so I'll be stopping at 3:30. I'll be taking my nap from 3:30 to 8:30. I'll be having my dinner and then attending the stock count. So that's how they basically build their life around. So they put themselves first instead of work. Like they are very clear about this. Instead, back in India, we are kind of hard workers, but we are not. We do not keep our lifestyle, our lives ahead of our work. We just think like the more we work, the better we get. It doesn't work like that. Like you have to have that balance.
And unless the group is following that norm, it gets very difficult for an individual to like go out of
the... Again, so it's like more of a group mentality which people try and follow, and this is what this is what it is different when you work in the Western world versus and it's not just India. What I've heard from people working in Philippines or Singapore or China, it is pretty much, even Dubai, it is pretty much similar to Indian culture. And I think it's just a mindset change between how people want to live their life.
And again, like you have to bring that change within yourself and within you have to try and convey that message to the other people you're working with, because that's how they have been raised in that particular industry or particular set. They have followed that norm for long, so they do not know like how things work otherwise. Like they are very rigid about that. They are not flexible in that sense. So that's where the new generation comes in, because this would be the generation who would be like, after a while, like 10 years
they'll be
from now,
setting those kind of norms for themselves.
Need to change, right? So either you have the option, like you get into that particular norm, into that particular lifestyle, or you try to push them back and say, okay, this is what my expectations are, and if you're not able to, so there has to be some level of pushing back in that sense. Like otherwise you can just be there and say, okay, just nod your head and say, okay, fine with me. So they won't understand, like if you are going through something, you want to change something. So that has to change. It's a kind of change that we would expect back there in the subcontinent or in the Asian culture of work.
And then only you guys would plan to come back, otherwise not. Is there any plans to come back, set your own firms yet?
Nothing till Corona ends up.
Oh, Corona is,
Nothing to do with it. He's just making this excuse. So it looks better in the interview.
So I don't think Corona can be an excuse anymore. Like in the coming year, we have to find better excuses if you have to like stay back there.
The situation here is pretty nice. So we are not actually fearing Corona, especially in Sydney.
It's a kind of lifestyle choice we have made.
Agree.
Although personally, I am working more here as I was working back in India. So I'm putting in more efforts, more working hours as I was giving back in India. But then it's again the lifestyle choice that I've made. Like the lifestyle here is kind of culture.
Okay, thank you.
So you have to understand your priority. Sorry.
No, I mean, I'm so glad that I got a very different perspective, and I'm sure people who are going to view this video will get a very different perspective. All in all, I'm understanding the importance of, what group norms are you setting in order to have that work-life balance eventually. Thank you for sparing the time of yours. Even though you people have, set pretty much priorities, like right priorities for you, yet I'm sure the working hours would be comparatively more, and sparing this kind of time for this interview is genuinely, I'm like genuinely grateful for this particular bit, and I would thank you on behalf of people who would be viewing this as well.
We are also very happy to have this interview, like where we are able to reach out to the students or to the upcoming CAs at large, like if they are coming, so that they have an insight into the industry and understand like this is what needs to change, and there are other options as well. Like it's not a herd mentality, herd community thing.
Yeah.
You have to come. Okay,
Totally
you follow
agree.
the trend. Yeah. You
Totally.
have.
Mentoring and coaching is part of our job profile as well, because
Yeah.
when you get an articles working under you, which we have always got, so grooming them, coaching them, mentoring them has been our job profile as well. But it feels good to reach out to the people who are like with whom you are not working, and people reaching out to the people at large.
Yeah. Because from the outside, things look very different, and from the inside, you know better how things are. Like it's been 8 years and 10 years of experience, so I'm sure nothing better than how
Definitely.
you will put it. I don't think anybody else can put it better. Okay. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
definitely.
Any last
No
words?
worries.
Nothing from nothing from me.
Like, just it has to be your own choice. The
Yeah.
kind of career you're entering, the kind of profession you're entering.
Right.
So it has to be your own choice. Make your choice reasonably, and
Whether
be
it's
open to
whether it's
opportunities.
Bollywood or whether it's CA, irrespective.
Yeah. You have to be good at it,
Mm.
or you have the potential to become good at it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.